Thank you all for joining to attend our webinar, Fiber Forward, Break Barriers, Drive Innovation, and Master the Future Connectivity with FIBRAIN, a producer in fiber optics. Here to present from FIBRAIN is their Area Sales Engineer, Regional Manager, Mohan, and their VP Director, Export Department, Michael. And joining from Winncom Technologies is our Fiber Product Manager, Alex. If anyone has any additional questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to add them into the chat and they'll be addressed. Alex, you are up.
Dawn, thank you as always. For those of you joining for the first time, welcome. And for those of you who are or have been here on one of our previous, thank you back. This is our second installment of 2025's panel discussions. As always, we keep the repository of information. We'll send out the link at the end of this. I'll also reference it in one of our reference slides, but everything is viewable on our bead and fiber portal. Before we begin, if there's any questions, ideally to keep this as interactive as possible, ask them as they come up. Dawn, if you don't mind, if you see questions, just throw them out into the discussion, but we'll begin. So today we have an exciting and powerful discussion hosted by Winncom Technologies and our fiber optic solution provider, FIBRAIN. In today's panel discussion, collectively, we're going to highlight cutting edge strategies. We'll talk about real world solutions and global insight in the transformative role of fiber optics. By the end of this panel discussion, hopefully you're going to walk away with some actionable insights into innovative solutions and tools that you can leverage. We know that transitioning from wireless to fiber, it could feel overwhelming, especially for service providers and WISPs. It raises big questions about managing costs, overcoming technical challenges, ensuring networks are built for long-term scalability. Today, we're here to address those concerns head on and give you the knowledge and confidence to design and deploy future-ready hybrid networks. Let me take a moment to highlight FIBRAIN. FIBRAIN is a leading Polish manufacturer of fiber optic technologies. For over 30 years, they've been building modern infrastructure, connecting communities worldwide. With cutting-edge manufacturing facilities and dedicated R&D teams, FIBRAIN offers tailored solutions and full project support, from network design all the way through implementation. And you're going to hear a lot about that as we go through our panel discussions today. So kind of to set the stage, during today's session, we've set up this as kind of a question and answer forum. And the topics we'll cover are going to fall under these topic guidelines: driving innovation in underserved areas, overcoming deployment barriers, tailoring solutions for every market, bridging fiber and wireless for future, lessons learned from a global leader, FIBRAIN, and then we'll conclude this with mastering the economics of fiber to the home. Right, so that's kind of our master class. By the end of the webinar, you're going to have actionable strategies to tackle hybrid network deployments and position your business for sustainable growth in this ever-changing industry. So let's dive in and get started. So for our first topic, driving innovation in underserved areas, we'll open this question to FIBRAIN. And the question for Mohan is, what are the unique challenges of deploying fiber in rural communities? And can you share examples of how leveraging existing infrastructure has significantly reduced deployment costs?
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Don, for the introduction as always. And Alex, that's a nice question to start the discussion. So we see there are unique challenges basically in deployment in rural areas. So one is basically low population density, right? The cost per subscribers are much higher in rural areas because there's fewer homes, and then the location is actually spread across a larger scale of distance. And we see there is also geographically, there is a lot of barriers. We have mountains, different forests as well. And then there are also flood prone areas we see. And this actually makes installation costs much higher and intensive labor, right? And time consuming. The other point we see as well is the workforce ability. So in most cases in rural areas, what we see is that there is a lack of skilled technician with, high, splicings, all of this highly skilled, workforce is actually limited, and that actually also increases cost of, deploying fiber in rural areas. And the other thing is arguably, but of course, funds, right? There's always a constraint. Many projects rely on subsidies or grants. That's adding complexity in one part of it. And then we look at the other hand is how to get the funds. And then there is communities as well. And, all of this plays a role. So example of how we can leverage existing infrastructure. Part of it, I can give some example in US. What we see is that in rural areas, in deployment in US, they are actually leveraging existing utility poles. So these are owned by electrical company or telephone companies, and then, for instance, there is collaboration between ISPs and rural electrical cooperative. So these are something which example how we can actually overcome or leverage this average infrastructure when we talk about the funds here. And if you see, for example, like in Kansas and Tennessee, they were able to do such projects deployment by, attaching fiber to existing pole instead of, trenching completely new lines. So this is something which was worked out. The other one more example is also reusing existing conduits. So we talk about legacy telecom conduits, which was passed, and in most cases, like in Midwest. So this approach also, we have the opportunity to actually minimize new cost in construction or avoid any environmental disruption. So this is more theoretically, practically it could be challenging. The other example I can give here is also railroads and highways. Right? Texas, California, they are capable of using the right way path along highways, for example, to lay fiber. This partnership can actually, avoid the need of lengthy permissions. So these are something where association plays a role, which we will talk probably more further. And this is where one of an example which we have seen here in Europe, which is quite advanced in deployment of fiber is that the internet service provider, sometimes cable operators or sometimes electrical companies, they do share their network infrastructure. And actually, they share their network infrastructure. So a main infrastructure is owned by a particular cable operator, but it's then shared with other broadband providers to also provide internet to customers, right? And this actually, it's kind of a mid-mile network. So you bring high-speed internet to rural communities more effectively and affordably. Here, what we have seen. So as FIBRAIN, from the solution point of view, so as I gave a couple of examples, innovative deployment techniques. So what we can do is, I could move to the next one here. Okay, so yeah.
So before you jump into this, just two things really quick that really resonated with me in regards to challenges that you're experiencing. And I'm seeing the same thing as we're having conversations with our customers. It could be fiber related, it could be BEAD related, but those challenges fall in really two buckets: funding, right? Having proper funding. And there's two things we can do to help: private equity, pointing in the right direction, We have relationships set up for letter of credits, and then we have a host of leasing services that allow you to really manage and maximize your CapEx and carry some of these costs over a 3 to 5 year period. One of the things we can absolutely help out with. And then the other one is just called education and training. A lot of customers, and I don't want to draw an imaginary line, but let's say if you're a service provider with 30,000 subs or less, I'm going to talk in generalities, you probably have access, especially if you're on this call, and experience with fixed wireless. So fiber might be something unique or new to you. So there's a significant cost set up if you're going to trench and bore fiber or run it with your utilities and leverage the right of ways. But there's training, there's splicing, there's equipment costs. So we have a host of fiber contractors that we use regionally that we can partner you with. So if this is something you're looking to get into, engage us at the end of this conversation, and we can certainly point you in the right direction. So, Mayan, sorry to went off a tangent there, but how does
no problem.
How does your solution address this?
So, so if you can see on this slide, so how we address, so based on example, because every states have different methods of deployments, and so we have solutions, particularly in example, to leverage using utility poles. So we've got, ADSS cable, which is cable is designed to actually install directly to any utility poles. Reducing costs as well. Then we've got basically also, it reduces costs in populated areas as well. And we've got, for example, compact system like micro-trenching solutions. So, having compact fiber in a smaller diameter, you could see the cable structure. It actually allows for a shallow or narrow trenching, and this actually significantly reduces the excavation cost in areas which having challenging terrains, because there are many field installers who go and they think everything goes smooth, they lay the ducts and then they hit barriers in between. So having such, a smaller diameter cable with having good flexibility, you could avoid such solution, and having the capability to have a higher count fiber. And in example, having the capability on this such small construction, even up to 24 fiber counts, and that helps you to reduce the cost of installation, especially for WISP who are actually moving into fiber optics and eventually trying to target new subscribers by introducing fiber. The other solution is as well hybrid solution. We have hybrid cable construction with a combination of fiber, which can also power up some CCTVs, cameras. So this is also simplifying any deployments in the area. So there are some places have lack of reliability in grid power, for example. So electrical companies in rural areas can come in with having hybrid solution, for example, with cables, with their infrastructure, put in a hybrid cable together with fiber, providing internet as well. So that's helping them, with how we can help them in such solution in this case. The other solution with one of the most recently hot solution which we see in the market is a pre-connectorized solution. This plays the role which I mentioned previously, that having lack of skilled workforce in rural areas. So having pre-connectorized cable for faster installation, it really significantly reduced skilled labor. So from the capex point, you basically reduce the whole deployment. So if you've got pre-connected solution, don't need a huge highly skilled labor skill, providing them solution plug and play. We've got multiple solutions. This is part of which we are just displaying. We can do the whole customization. So this is part of how we look and challenging this part of it.
Excellent, excellent. And what I like most about FIBRAIN, and it goes back to the kind of the introduction of their depth and breadth in products and their R&D facilities, but they offer both passive, as Mohan has been talking about, and active solutions. So Mohan, in regards to active, I know that you've got an agnostic ONT. So how does that agnostic ONT with PoE play in simplifying fiber deployments, in particular in these rural markets?
Yeah. So I think that's the next slide, I guess, right? We're gonna talk. So again, just to Alex, thanks for letting me know about our active solution. So Harley Networks was actually part where FIBRAIN was then requested by mining operators that they would like to have us providing them solution as a turnkey solution, so the company can provide you passive infrastructure equipments as well as active equipments. And over the past of the years, we developed our own technology, which is called adaptive OMCI stack, which you mentioned, and the agnostic. So what it does is that it's able to, the ONT is able to actually sense the management entity of the OLT, which is connected, and then it actually adapts the whole settings, and then all services starts to actually work. And we offer right now almost up to 12 vendors proven interoperability. And all of this basically our software and hardware are all developed here in Poland in our in-house R&D department. And what is the challenges we talk about? Yeah, having a vendor agnostic ONT actually significantly helps operators to be vendor independent. So they allows them to basically integrate their network with various network platforms. So you reduce the dependency of having a specific factor. The other part of it also cost factor. So you can look at a larger scale of OLT providers and then negotiating with better pricing. So this also plays a role. Now, power over Ethernet also again comes back to rural, which we spoke earlier. So simplifying that is basically WISP customer. Let's say the main infrastructure is built on copper. Now, they would like to provide fiber, eventually move to fiber optic. So deploying everything in-house and then putting fiber directly to the home, it's gonna cost quite a lot. So having ONTs with power over net actually eliminates this. That's already solutions in the market, which we talk about. However, we have ONTs which are interoperable, so they can go out onto the market, look at OLT vendors, or we could recommend them any specific OLT vendors to go with to have a seamless deployment at the beginning stage from their transition from copper solution into fiber, and then having not to train existing technician of plugging in the configuration, but using Ethernet cable, plug it will power up, and then they do all the network basically. They can start deploying the network. The other thing is basic power over Ethernet, as I mentioned. It reduces also equipment count, so you don't need an adapter. That's say you don't need to find a spot to have a power outlet. Also in rural areas, sometimes power grids, it's not really highly reliable. So these are things which comes in minimizing your budget in sensitive areas, which I talk about. And in the real world impact, which we have seen here in Poland, based on our experience, which actually made us, or actually we actually part of our contribution in Poland, which we have done is, introducing the idea which I mentioned previously of sharing the network infrastructure. This allows ISPs to have a much reduced in cost. That would be a choice of selecting multiple vendors. And if you look at it in this area, it doesn't mean just basically it's about business and their competition, but you have to look at the bigger picture, that how you can actually share the whole business, not someone just monetizing it. And in Poland, in most places in Europe, it really brought a lot of significant effect that we've seen fibers being deployed in many rural areas compared even compared to urban areas. So this is where we see how they collaborate quite.
That's amazing. So I would say that if you are already deploying active fiber solutions, and let's say you have Atran or Calex, and it's a GPON or XGS PON type of product, engage us in conversation. This could be a workaround or a way to maximize or minimize cost and maximize profitability. I'd say with this as well, it falls under the BEAD exemption rule. So if you are applying to BEAD and you're looking at your product strategy, this could be a fit as well. Mahan, thank you. I think that was a great highlight of that particular product.
Thanks,
Alex. So right now we have a question to you, Dan. Since we are like the partners with each other, so can you please elaborate a little bit? How can you as a Winncom, as a distributor of ours, and not only ours but also another vendors as well, how can you help bridge the digital divide in the underserved areas by streamlining access to fiber solution?
I was really hoping you were going to ask me a true or false question. That would have been a lot easier for me, but let me give it a shot. So Winncom plays a key role in bridging the digital divide by providing scalable, cost-effective solutions. The key is partnering with strategic and top manufacturers. We offer a full range of high-performance fiber products, both on the active side of the house and on the passive side of the house. And it's designed to meet the unique needs of our customers. So with our technical expertise, we support everything from high-level network planning to detailed design work. Through our trusted partner network, we can also connect, and I talked a little bit about this in the very beginning, we can connect customers with those skilled fiber contractors to handle the installation and the ongoing maintenance. So again, if you are new to this and one, you want to be able to create knowledge and training, and you want to be able to minimize costs, we have the ability to partner you not only with the right manufacturers, but with the right installation partners. And when we've done this before in the past, what's end up happening is they do the first few deployments, and then you partner your team with them. And as you see how splicing works, how boring equipment works, how they're running conduit, how they're working with utilities, doing permitting, doing right-of-ways, you start to pick up those skill sets with you. And again, our role here at Winncom is to work closely with you and your project team and ensure that we can help you pick the right partner based on your region. And then from a product solution, we can ensure the materials are delivered on time, where you need them. So transitioning to our second topic, it's overcoming deployment barriers. The question I would have for you on the FIBRAIN side is, we all remember, and this comes back to, right, the fiber supply challenges that we all faced in the past. With more fiber deployments happening, especially now so than ever, and with BEAD being on the forefront, how has FIBRAIN tackled supply chain risk in the past, and what lessons can others take away from your approach?
Oh, this is very, very good question. Very nice one. I will reflect a little bit to the past, certainly. So I'll start with that we are learning certainly from the market situation and our experience. Briefly reminding you that FIBRAIN was established in 1993. So over 32 years experience in a telecommunication, but not only the sector. We have started as a distributor, acting only in the Polish, which is our domestic market. Throughout those years of, we transformed into the big company, having recently about 1,100 employees. Also, our flow plan have been have built up significantly, starting adding some manufacturing centers one to another, building like the different range of the products, having recently comprehensive product range. Recently, we have 4 independent manufacturing centers. All of them, they are located in Poland, one close to another, which minimize the supply chain risk, because 5 kilometers distance between the facilities, this is not a challenge. We are proud of the Polish origin of our products. And reflecting to the past, in 2016, we were in this year we were the producer of the fiber optic cables, connectivity, distribution, among the others, but not the fiber itself. And no, in this year, the shortage of the fiber unfortunately hit the market, and it has started already, and it was lasting a year more or less. And we as a FIBRAIN have been able, unfortunately, to use our capabilities in the production like in full, unfortunately. But that made us to the decision that FIBRAIN, both of the members decided to build our own tower to draw the fiber. And we wanted to be independent. We wanted not to rely on any of the suppliers of this, the most important raw materials from which we manufacture. And since 2020, we have our own tower with the 4 independent production lines, where we draw 3 types of the fibers, all of them single mode in the 200 and 250 micro. That means that we are fully prepared for any kind of the fiber outage, which is expected 2026, depending on the survey, depending on who is like talking. But certainly there's big rollout expected, not only in US but also Europe, in also like in many different continents. So FIBRAIN is recently on the position that we can commit big volumes to the different quantities, different delivery within agreed time.
Excellent. And what steps have you taken to ensure that you continue to deliver high quality products, meeting deadlines with this potentially unpredictable market?
It is unpredictable. Yeah, it is. There is a lot of the actions which we have decided to take. As I said, 1,100 employees. A lot of the people are working in the quality control department, and the quality is like the biggest asset of our company, as well as the biggest focus. We have like quality orientation in every of the department, in sales, in technical, in production, and all the other ones. Ensuring quality and delivery timelines in those challenging markets requires certainly strategic approach, flexibility, proactive risk management, and operational excellence. And certainly we are trying to fulfill all of those factors day by day. We maintain the buffer stock for all of the raw materials from which we manufacture, not only cables, but all the other products as well, which Mohan have mentioned, like the plastic injection center, which we have as well. So we have all of those raw materials there as well. We carefully controls every raw material which we are using in cable production, for instance. I would repeat what one of my colleagues have said like years ago. Manufacturing the golden sample is not the issue. Manufacturing like 1 or 2 big deliveries, even, it's not also the issue. But manufacturing, maintaining the production, the good quality production within the years, this is like the biggest challenge, not only for us, but for all of the manufacturers, I believe. And this is what stands out FIBRAIN, because as we mentioned, 30 years in the market, we will not be able to exist and maintain our position without the good quality products. There is a lot of to discuss, but certainly, as I said, being independent and having the focus about the quality means that we can commit to big volume deliveries. Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, not only have you the ability to turnkey the entire manufacture process, a key thing I just want to point out, they're also a global manufacturer. So they're competing globally against a lot of very competitive regions and segments. So for those of you on the phone, FIBRAIN not only has really, I use the term best in breed, but do they have a technical expertise in R&D that develops this high quality cable, but they're also extremely price competitive. So on your next deployment, engage us and we can put together a competitive solution. So I know, Michael, we talked about Windstream before being a strategic partner with you. What are some best practices from Windstream have you learned that other WISPs and ISPs could use?
I think I would take that
Okay.
from what I've seen. So obviously it's an interesting question. I'm pretty sure Michael smiles about it because this is what we have been pushed as well from the sales side. So when we look at Windstream, they emphasize a lot of importance in collaborating, planning, and having integrated solution across their supply chain. Right? And then in FIBRAIN, from our perspective, what we did and we actually adapted, like Michael said, how we overcome those blockchains. We adapted similar practices by integrating digital supply chain. So this gives us the tool to actually enhance the visibility and coordinate this within our stakeholders, our partners across the globe, or any end customers, like basically in Poland that we do collaborate with. This gives us the idea. So the benefit of this is that the WISP and ISPs can benefit is that they are, implementing a predictive analytics. So basically giving us a forecast, much like Windstream, and this allows them to be proactive. We often see big project comes in and like short of delivery, we need it within 3 weeks. Are you able to do that? And then eventually paying higher price to another vendor. So these are things which we have seen in the past. So this allows you to be much proactive, bottlenecks. So what we actually do as well is sometimes encourage them. We have this digital tool which we are actually constantly connecting them, that how do you see your next deployment in the next 6 months. So here we do have to increase our raw material intakes as well. So these are things which we try to overcome as a company, but these are things which actually benefit the WISP and ISP. And additionally is that this is good for WISP and ISPs to actually adapt and build a future-proof supply chain, right? So that's how I look at it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I would just add to Mohan comment one thing. What you can take as a WISP and ISPs like to adapt from the, let's say, the tier one operators. Definitely the forecasting and being like prepared with all of the products which you need for building the network, right? So definitely. This is like the in my opinion, the one of the biggest issue which everyone should like adapt to like quite quickly, because later on keeping like the engineers who are ready to install and they don't have the products from which they should build the network, this is like much bigger cost. So I would recommend definitely like forecasting and keeping some of the goods in your stock for the quick action, and certainly distributors as a Winncom for instance, also whenever you will provide the forecast, they are keen to keep the goods in stock on a monthly basis or quarterly basis forecast.
Yeah, and Michael, just to also add that is looking at vendors and having solutions available. So not focusing on a single vendor, but you'd have a couple of vendors in your list that you can actually rely on in terms of managing your network. So that's also something it's good for them to actually adapt as well.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And Alex, question to you. So
Mhm.
how can what I know you guys are a global premier supplier or distribution, and how do you actually proactively play this role in actually minimizing? I mean, we had a personal experience also in few projects that you are able to actually minimize this and then challenge this supply chain disruption.
Yeah, I mean that's the $1 billion question, right? Um, I think it comes down to a couple things. One of them is strong supplier relationships, right? That's key. The fact that we regularly talk and coordinate with our partners, and we work on getting priority access to inventory, and staying ahead of any potential supply chain disruption. Now, we use some tools for this. It could be forecasting, it could be demand planning, but we analyze market trends. We try to anticipate customer needs, so some of the run rate. We stock critical items in advance, but all these are kind of proactive measures that we have to kind of stop those disruptions. Um, we're also not siloed. And what I mean by that is each one of our teams is a value add. So our engineering team and our product management team and our B team and our sales team, we're all working together on your opportunities. And the first part of the supply chain disruption, obviously, is looking at trends and looking at run rate, but we're also deeply involved in each one of the individual opportunities. So with a combination of those two efforts and offering and providing those best in breed manufacturers and multiple different channels throughout the market, it gives us the ability to really mitigate supply chain disruptions. And that's been key across the board with just about all of our product lines. So transitioning to our next section, which is tailored solutions for every market. I have a two-part question. So for our customers on the call, we have a mix of WISPs, and I think there's a couple representatives, some municipalities. How does FIBRAIN's fiber optic products meet the different needs of these groups?
Oh, this is a very good question. I like it so much because we understand that every of the opportunity, every project, every customer is different, right? But what we like the most as a FIBRAIN, we like to deliver solution, not only product, not only particular product, because sometimes we receive the RFQ, RFP for the product like the cable or the ONT, right? But we are always trying to engage the customer within the discussion about the what kind of the opportunity we are talking about, what is like this project as a whole understood, and how we can help not only to provide the product but the whole turnkey solution. So we are always offering the suitable accessories to every of the different elements while we are asked for the single product, for instance. So we are trying to follow not only the market trends, but to create them as well by different products, like pre-connectorized solution, for instance, as Mohan mentioned. Um, I would just reflect to one of the conversation which I had more or less a year ago with one of the ISP in US.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that he was absolutely fed up with testing too many different product brands compatibility, which means that he had like the cable, like 2 or 3 different manufacturers. Also, he was having like the installation tools, anchoring clamps, and he was not sure whether it works with each other, what kind of the products he should use with another one. That's why we have a lot of the solution called systems, as well as you can see on the screen right now. This is our comprehensive overhead installation system, which we called AirTrack. For each of our overhead installation cables, we have also like suitable elements, suspensions, anchoring clamps, all the other ones, and we test them. So this is not only that we can like recommend something which works on the datasheet basis with the, I don't know, outer diameters or something like that, but we test them because in Poland we have the testing tracks for the overhead installation solution, for the microduct testing solution as well. So we can deliver the tailor measure solution which is suitable for the for the different infrastructure. But besides the products, as you, Alex, have mentioned also a couple of the times, we are able to provide the service as well together with your engineering, because we have already discussed it a couple of the times that you have a very good engineering service. We have them as well. So together we can create very nice assets by providing, for instance, pre-connectorized drop cables to be used for the last mile connection customers, or like advise the different splitter ratio, advise various splitters segmentation usage, and this kind of the stuff as well. So we do like provide solution.
It's what makes working with you very easy. It's not individual products that we're positioning. It's tailored solutions. So I think this is a fantastic slide that really represents that entire eco center. That's fantastic. Question to this is I get a lot of requests about hybrid. How do hybrid solutions play a role in addressing some of these unique requirements?
So if we talk about maximizing here the return of investment, and we talk urban, that's urban and rural areas, right? So in urban areas, we have basically high demand for reliable and high-speed capacity internet, and then the other part, if we look at it, it reduces installation complexity while maintaining the performance because of the infrastructure. Now, hybrid approach here plays a nice role is that you have all backbone cable with fiber, and then you have wireless in the last mile access, right? So there is a two roles which you can use with the existing infrastructure that's maximizing in terms of your return of investment. Looking at the scale of the next 5 years, the cost of the backbone deployment. And then in rural market, we look at the challenges as mentioned also before, longer distance, difficult, terrains, lower population density, and the cost for having full fiber network is actually expensive, time consuming. So the hybrid approach here you can look at is basically fiber again as backbone, and then providing wireless to extend the reach. So fiber to the antenna plays roles as well in this case. So there are quite a number of factors, and the key benefit, I look at it as cost efficiency. So optimize the existing infrastructure which you have, whether we can provide fiber. So we talk about, for example, here in Poland, I can give you a very quick example, is that they said that there is a quite a unique way of marketing. Is it fiber to the home? But technically, it's not fiber to the home. It's actually fiber to the building, because some existing infrastructures are built on copper. So fiber to the building is provided because it's much cheaper, because we have a lot of multi-dual buildings close to each other in a very dense area, and then with existing infrastructure, they are using RF ports. So you got a ONT with RF, right? So they provide fiber to the building, have a switch, it then changes the signal. So you get technically fiber, but not fiber in your home, right? So this is also one example of actually optimizing the existing infrastructure. And then, also scalability plays a role. So, as network evolves, the demand grows because a lot of competitors will be looking at providing higher speed rate of internet service. So having hybrid solution gives you this scale. On the other hand is to be flexible. So tailor your deployment based on which targeted audience you are looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the very key role. So mapping up, and should we invest and move? So this is also targeting, or should we leverage existing infrastructure and be price competitive from the sales point? So this is for subscribers. So this is how we have to look at it.
No, it makes sense.
Alex, can you please let us know how Winncom help customers select the right fiber solution based on their specific market needs?
That's a great and loaded question. So I'd say there's two buckets, right? So first, before we get into that, it's important to note that no two network deployments are exactly the same. So bucket one would be a customer who already has a high level or low level fiber design. So for there, we can focus on fulfillment and logistics. This means we can supply active and passive components needed for your network and whatever their particular parameters or requirements are, because that's kind of like an apples to apples approach. The other bucket, these are customers that are starting out. And I think I used an example with providers with 30,000 subs or less is typically who falls within this bucket. But as a complete solution provider, Winncom, we offer everything from A to Z. So for customers who are in the planning phases, we sit down, we have a consultative call, and we take time to understand your goals, what your challenges are, what your requirements are. We use our internal expertise, which I've talked about in depth on this call, and our strong partner network. We can help guide you through the technical aspects of the fiber solution. We partner with industry leaders. On the active side, it could be Nokia, Cambium Networks, DZS. We heard from FIBRAIN on the agnostic ONT side. Then we've got trusted suppliers on the passive. And again, FIBRAIN is a fantastic example of that. But our goal is to provide that best in breed technology and flexible options that allow you to scale for your current demand and to meet future demands. Now, a two-part thing is what resources and tools do we have that would help guide you? This is an example of our bead portal. So as I mentioned, this holds a repository of a lot of fantastic things. First of which, every one of these panel discussions or webinars we do, they're here. So you could reference these at your leisure. They also showcase our fiber products, active and passive, and then it also correlates the bead. So we could look at what your states are, when are they moving to pre-qualification or application, and what in particular is required. We could talk about our grant writing services or professional engineering services, or how we can help you with PE drawings. As I mentioned, we try to put together that eco center for you and offer that consultative service that allows you to work with a single point of contact on your sales team and through our engineering team, our product team, to be able to support you throughout your entire fiber design. So I know we're coming down to it, jumping ahead. So let me move to our fourth topic. It's bridging fiber and wireless and what that looks like for the future. So Mohan, question I have for you is how do you support WISPs and ISPs in integrating fiber and wireless technologies effectively?
Since Mohan was talking like quite a lot on in the first part of the discussion, let me maybe answer this one.
Floor is yours,
So thank you, sir.
Throwing curveballs. I like it.
Yeah. So certainly as a fiber, we have this sales and forgot concept. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I was joking. Of course, we don't have this one, right? So we're always supporting the customer, right? So pre and after sales support. This is what FIBRAIN and Halney we are able to offer. Since we are running out of the time recently, I will just try to emphasize one of the most important features, in my opinion, what we can offer. So we are very keen to provide products for the testing, which is certainly free of charge as a samples. and with our engineers support. So whenever we will send you any kind of the HALNE products from the active devices portfolio, so we are always having the session with the customer, what kind of the product he's looking for, what kind of the Wi-Fi, for instance, he wanted to have, like the Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7, whether he's like in the GPON or XGS PON technology, and we are like discussing about the test plan, what kind of the features he wanted to have. So there's a lot of to discuss, and that's why we're engaging our technical operations center, one of our engineers there. And we are always very keen to provide the bundle offer, and which means that not only ONT, but together with Winncom, as Alex have mentioned already, OLTs as well from DZS or from Nokia, for instance. All of our ONTs, like selection of the only they are working with recently 12 different vendors, but not only OLTs and ONTs, we can provide the technical support as I mentioned, pre and after sales, as well as a NMS system, so a network management system to monitor and control the fiber infrastructure from a single interface. So this is what we can offer as a bundle, right? So and also whenever you will go, recently you are thinking as a WISP or the ISP, like it's like quite a big challenge for me. So don't be afraid. We can definitely assist, and also like to give you even like more trust to us. FIBRAIN is keen to provide the 10 to 25 years warranty for the system. So not only 2 years product warranty, but whenever you will go for the full deployment of our product range, we can expand the warranty period.
Excellent.
And finally, the last thing, Alex, is about this pilotage case, right? So we are very open for any kind of the challenges, right? So this is the case from the Hungarian Railways, where they have like invited us to come for the pilotage, which was like very challenging environment, and with requirements set to blow the fiber with the maximum fiber count any of the manufacturer can come with. To at least 2 kilometer distance. When we have seen the first time the track when we will be blowing the cable, our engineer said, no, it will not come. But later on, we have like brainstorm internally what tools we can use, how we can do that, what kind of cables to use there, and the way to make that. It happened already. So whenever you will have more time, you can download this really interesting case study, and you will learn more how we are supporting in any kind of deployment WISP ISPs to integrate or to build and deploy the fiber.
Excellent. So just shifting gears real quick, let's go to our fifth section out of 6, learning from global fiber leaders. So what lessons can we learn from countries that have successfully adopted larger scale fiber deployments?
Oh, there is quite a lot of that. As you can see on the screen, there is 80 countries to which we deliver as a FIBRAIN, the different type of the products and the solution. So we are certainly as recently trying to listen the market needs and gathering the feedback from our partners, our distributors, and the end customers. And there is like at least 3 takeaways which I was thinking about whenever you answer this question, whenever you are coming with this question. So there is for sure very important strong government support which is needed, investment in the infrastructure, which could be done by not only ISPs but also different co-founders, and also efficient deployment strategies to make that as much efficient as cost efficient as possible, not thinking only about the product cost, but as a total cost of the ownership. So the TCO perspective. I'll just name maybe 2-3 different examples which we have, like from Netherlands, for instance, which they have adopted open access network, which allows multiple service provider to use the same infrastructure, fostering competition and lower prices, which we don't have in Poland, for instance, which is very unfortunate because there are some of the areas where there is like the monopolies, and unfortunately the prices are very, very high because the government, the local government, have allowed one single ISP to be on the network, and then the subs are unfortunately struggling with the high prices. What we can like learn as well, Sweden, for instance, have developed long-term broadband strategy with the clear goals, timeline, and benchmarks, which are checked. And what is very, very important here, there is like the public-private partnership there, which means that they collaborate. There is collaboration between governments and the private companies, WISP, ISPs, to optimize investment and share the cost of infrastructure being built.
So how does your experience in the global markets inform your product design and deployment strategies?
Yeah, as Michael mentioned, presence in 80 few markets, right? So we do listen, we do see and learn from actually leading global manufacturers. Obviously, we have to have them even though they are our competitors. So we learn on how they are approaching markets as well. So we adopt the best practices, and we look at top countries like Michael mentioned of how the deployment strategy looks like, and then we try to we have our own R&D department. So based on those adaptation practices, we look at providing solution that would not just marketize. For example, like we had a different experience in Hungary, different experience in Poland, but we try and bring a solution that would work for at least 5 or 10 countries that would see this solution work in their deployment. That's one thing. So the other thing is that our in-house production, so we have the capability to customize solutions. So as we already mentioned a couple of times, comprehensive manufacture, so fiber optic cables, pre-connectorized solution, as I mentioned, and then we have our own plastic injection molding and metal, so we can customize plastic products, metal patch panels or enclosures. And eventually also we talk about hardening as well, that we define and we develop that. So this is where we come in, and then we help actually design or develop
So
new
Mahan,
products.
bringing this full circle, what innovations in fiber optic technology are driving down costs to fiber to the home deployments?
So predeterminate solution, which I have mentioned, is plug and play solution. So from the passive side, simplifying all deployments, we have ONTs, which are interoperable plug and play. This is all actually simplifying the cost. So that's actually one thing. We do design networks, as you guys probably also do. So we do the scalability and reliability to prepare customers to move from GPON to XGS-PON, or customers who do not have GPON but going into XGS-PON. So this is where we see that the cost of fiber to the home is decreasing. And the other thing is having an advanced manufacturing process. So we do have a lot of automated and efficient product producing techniques. So that gives us material costs, decreases the material cost.
Excellent, excellent. And then I know we're running short on time. I just wanted to conclude on this particular reference slide, you've got some contact information. So again, if you have any upcoming projects, my contact there is along with the bead contact. So if you have fiber projects or you're looking to see what you need to do to go through pre-qualification or application, engage us and we can certainly help figure out how your exact state is scoring and how they are establishing project service areas. And then there's some hyperlinks, and again, this slide will be available to you tomorrow, where you can take access to our bead portal, you can look at our fiber solution page, and then we have a FIBRAIN landing page as well. I like to conclude by saying thank you, Michael and Mohan. I certainly appreciate both of your time. I think this has been extremely informative, and I end this with, we're here for you. So as you are building out your applications, engage us, and our goal is to make this as simple as possible. Thank you very much for your time. and we certainly appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you on our next panel discussion.
For sure. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having
Alex.
us. Yeah.
Thanks.